You're standing in your kitchen, and the lights are on, but you hesitate. Not because you forgot something, because you're calculating. This isn't about shortages or blackouts. It's about what happens when modern systems quietly get expensive. You know the bill will arrive. You just don't know how much higher it will be this time. Nothing feels broken, and that's what makes it dangerous. In one country, this hesitation is becoming routine. Not because energy disappeared, but because the cost of keeping it alive keeps rising. In 2024, French households spent an average of €1,850 on electricity, up 25% in just 3 years. For many, wages barely moved. The question isn't whether the lights stay on, it's who can still afford to live with them on. Meet Claire, 42 years old, living in Lyon. Every week she makes small calculations: groceries, rent, power. Each one is a little more painful than the last. It's a quiet tension, almost invisible. No blackouts, no collapse. Just a slow, invisible squeeze. She remembers when electricity was something you simply used. You flipped a switch, you turned on the heat, you didn't think about it. Now every appliance is a calculation. The washing machine runs only on off-peak hours. The oven stays cold more often. She wears an extra sweater indoors instead of turning up the heat. These aren't dramatic sacrifices. They're small adjustments that add up to a different way of living. Her apartment is warm, her fridge hums, the lights work perfectly, but small luxuries have become choices: a long shower, leaving the living room lights on, choices that used to feel automatic, part of living in a modern home. Claire thinks about her parents. Her father, who worked 40 years in manufacturing, mentions the bills with a quiet bewilderment that something so basic has become so expensive. Her mother has started unplugging appliances, a habit Claire used to mock as a teenager. Now she does the same thing. From the outside, France looks fine. The trains run, the streets are lit, the cafes are full. The infrastructure that generations relied on continues its quiet work. The system delivers exactly what it promises: reliable, constant electricity. But that illusion is expensive to maintain, and Claire's not sure how much longer she can manage the cost. She's not alone. Across France, millions are making the same quiet adjustments, each person thinking they're the only one struggling. They're not. The system is changing, and they're feeling it first. Claire even started a spreadsheet to track her kilowatt-hour usage, trying to find ways to save. She bought LED bulbs, a smart thermostat, thick curtains. She's tried everything, but the line on her graph only moves in one direction: up. So what's going on? France's energy system was once a model for the world. In the 1970s, the country went all in on nuclear power. A fleet of reactors would provide stable, affordable electricity and energy independence. For decades, it worked perfectly. French electricity was among the cheapest in Europe. The system became invisible, the way successful infrastructure always does. You only notice it when it stops working. But the world has changed. The nuclear fleet that once seemed eternal is now aging. The reactors built in the 70s and 80s are reaching the end of their lives. Some can be extended with massive upgrades. Others need to be replaced entirely. The costs are staggering. Estimates suggest €50 billion will be needed by 2030 just to maintain the existing system. And that's a conservative guess. Meet Mark, 51, a maintenance engineer in southern France. He keeps the turbines running every day. He sees what others don't: the wear on equipment that should have been replaced years ago, the patches that buy time but don't solve problems, the deferred maintenance that accumulates like debt. In the control room, screens show normal parameters. Everything looks pristine. But Mark knows what's behind the panels: the aging transformers, the corroded pipes, the duct tape fixes that have become semi-permanent. Behind the scenes, costs are rising for everything: fuel, maintenance, regulation, and aging parts. The price of uranium has fluctuated. The specialized workforce is retiring faster than it can be replaced. New safety regulations, while necessary, add layers of complexity and expense. Fix one system and you discover it has created stress in another. This is the hidden weight that lands on Claire's bill every month. It's the invisible story behind why she stands in her kitchen hesitating to flip a switch. It's the cost of keeping a modern world running, a cost that is no longer quiet. Factories hum quietly, offices stay lit, hospitals run without interruption. The Paris metro moves millions of people daily. From the outside, everything looks normal. The demand for electricity only grows, and day after day, the system meets that demand. But underneath, it's straining. Meet Mark. He's an engineer, and he knows the numbers. He knows how much it costs to keep everything running. He sees a spreadsheet he's not supposed to talk about, one that tracks deferred maintenance. The numbers grow each year, not because of negligence, but because the budget just isn't there. Critical safety systems get priority. Everything else waits. The list grows longer, and the margins for error grow thinner. The system has backups, of course. But redundancy costs money too, and assumes only one thing fails at a time. What happens when multiple systems strain at once? This isn't a story about a sudden collapse. It's a slow, quiet erosion. Mark sees the patches, the workarounds, the compromises made to keep things running just a little bit longer. He wonders how long this can continue. The problems are mounting faster than the solutions. The system is functioning on borrowed time and borrowed money. This all depends on one big assumption, that the government can keep subsidizing the difference between what energy actually costs and what people can pay. But that assumption is starting to crack. France's public debt is over 110% of its GDP. Each euro borrowed today is a euro owed tomorrow. What feels stable today could be very fragile tomorrow. Now, meet Sophie. She's a 29-year-old freelance graphic designer in Paris. She doesn't work in energy, but she feels its effects every day. Her rent climbs, her bills climb, her savings shrink. Her apartment is small, just one room, and the fixed costs eat up nearly 1,200 euros before she's even bought groceries. She's learned to save aggressively during good months to cover the lean ones. But the margins keep shrinking. She stops using appliances unless she has to. The dryer is a luxury for emergencies. Clothes hang on a rack by the window. This isn't a temporary crisis for her. It's the new normal. The system hasn't broken, it's just slowly pricing people like her out. One household at a time. The cruel irony is that those who can least afford it feel it first. Wealthier people absorb the increases. They install more efficient systems. They barely notice a 25% jump in their electricity bill. But people like Sophie notice every single kilowatt hour. And this isn't just a French problem. Germany is worried about its manufacturing competitiveness because of high energy prices. In the UK, millions face the choice between heating and eating. Spain is using emergency price caps that strain public finances. Even in the US, California faces rolling blackouts and Texas struggles with grid stability. Everywhere, infrastructure is aging and the bill is coming due. Modern systems don't fail when they stop working. They fail when fewer and fewer people can afford to use them. France made reasonable choices, but for a different era, an era of cheap energy and steady growth. Now, growth has slowed, incomes have stagnated, but the costs keep climbing. The real risk isn't a dramatic collapse. It's that this becomes permanent, that we accept that energy is expensive, budgets are always tight, and that access to basic infrastructure is no longer a given, but something negotiated every month between your income and your bills. Mark will keep patching the systems. Sophie will keep checking her bank balance. The lights will stay on, and life will continue with a surface-level normalcy that masks the strain underneath. Until one day, the question changes from, can we afford this? To, why are we still trying? This is how modern systems fail. Not with a bang, but with a bill. Not with collapse, but with slow erosion. And the most dangerous systems aren't the ones that break. They're the ones we quietly adapt to. The ones that train us to accept less, expect less, and demand less, until we forget what abundance even felt like. The real danger isn't the system breaking, but us breaking to fit the system. Thanks for watching. If you found this thought-provoking, consider subscribing for more videos that look at the systems shaping our world.